Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Chelsea debate. Josh, you all right, mate?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. It's early in the morning, but busy day, so we'll get this done. We're doing a fun one today, fantasy football. I know loads of people play it. Do you play it?
I do, yeah.
And we're going off the official fantasy football rather than Sky. I know people do different ones, but I mean, it's the same thing, really. But we'll do the original fantasy football. I just want to go through our players. And I think overall, I don't know if you agree, I think there's some real value for money in Chelsea players. I think perhaps we're a bit underrated and could go under the radar. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, we were quite reasonably priced last year and the year before, to be fair. But I thought after winning the Champions League and sort of the form that we've been in the last 6 months, obviously for the season, I thought that some of the players might have sort of shot up in value because that's what tends to happen. But
Yeah.
no, we'll find out now, won't we? But there's some real bargains to be had from Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think sort of in terms of we spread the goals around, so that is perhaps why in the midfield forwards we don't, but defensively there's some. So we'll start with the goalkeepers. Obviously, Kepa 5, no one's gonna pick him, and there's talks of I don't know who we're getting in as a third choice goalkeeper. Romero's been talked, so you could put a cheap goalkeeper in, but the main one, Mendy, 6 million. Now that's top end. I've got just a few players for context for you. Edison and like the big boys, Allison, like 6 mil. So that's where he's priced, and that's because of how many clean sheets, how well we did. But then some people prefer cheaper options, the 4.5 goalkeepers to save money elsewhere. And you've got Martinez at Villa, 5.5, Kasper Schmeichel at 5 mil is quite good. So Mendy, is he someone you consider for your team anyway?
It's someone I'd consider because as you sort of briefly just mentioned there, his clean sheet record was incredible, wasn't it, in his first season? So I think that's why his price is so high. But I mean, I'm personally one of these that go for the cheaper end goalkeepers and to put your money in elsewhere. So the one
Yeah.
that stands out to me there, in fairness, is probably Kasper Schmeichel at 5 million because he's a great goalie. His team always, they're always to the top of the league. In fairness, I mean, I'd have to double check the numbers. Clean sheets aren't, less they do concede, but also they score more. But no, I think that's good value. To be fair, Kasper Schmeichel.
I know a lot of people do 4.5 and then like the 4 mil goalkeeper to save the money. I like two 4.5 goalkeepers. I don't know how many people do that, but and I check the fixtures to then rotate between my two 4.5. So I wouldn't say if a Chelsea fan wants to put Mendy in, I wouldn't say no. I don't think it's a bad idea because I think defensively again under Tuchel we've seen how solid we are. But yeah, one to think
No,
about.
I think it's one of those, isn't it? Mendy himself is a great shout. It's just how you play the game, isn't it? If you like a cheaper goalie, you're not going to pick him. But himself is a great shout because if we should touch wood, be
Keep
in
it
there
low.
with a fair few clean sheets.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go on defenders. For me, this is where, because I like to put a lot of Chelsea players in. Obviously, I max out, I try and put 3 Chelsea players in, as I hope every Chelsea fan does. And I think this is where your real value for money is. So 6 mil defenders for us, we've got Chilwell and Aspilicueta. Our 5.5 defenders, James, Zuma, Rudiger, Silva, Marcus Alonso. Then you've got Christensen at 5 mil, and then on the game there's Ampadu at 4.5. We'll leave him, but does anyone stand out? And maybe someone you drafted a team? Have you got any of those in, or are you thinking of any?
Christensen for me, 5 million. Christensen, yeah, based off his form in the last few months of last season, and obviously he had a good Euros as well for Denmark. So Christensen for me is the standout. Also, I'd love Chilwell because I like a left back who does a sort of bit of everything, which we saw more and more of from Ben Chilwell last year.
Yeah,
But just at 6 million for me, that's just I'd have thought it'd been like a 5.5 because I love him and he had a great season and he was really unlucky with his experience from the Euros. But in fairness, I think you'd have to say his first season at Chelsea, it got off to not a slow start, but it could have been better. And it was like one of those, wasn't it? It built for me.
grew
So
into it.
yeah, so I wasn't quite expecting the 6 million tag. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I think Christensen, like you say, if he's going to start, he's nailed on for me in
Hmm.
terms of him in the game because 5 mil for a Chelsea defender, the amount of clean sheets, yes, but we don't know if he's going to start. I think Tuchel, I was actually reading a piece yesterday giving Christensen a lot of praise, and like you say, he had a great summer and brilliant. The back end came on the Champions League, stepped up, and Silva, because of the Copa America, is going to be late back. So maybe someone to consider early on, even though Chelsea have got tough fixtures. As for the, go on.
Sorry, don't you think there's another argument in that? In Thiago Silva's another year older.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously Christensen's younger. We're going to have to try and get Christensen to sign a new contract. So I think in the picture, I think he'll start the season because obviously, as you said about Silva Copa America, but I think they'll very much share that position next year.
It could be one of those where perhaps Christensen's maybe brought in more for the Premier League and Silva for Europe could be. Just for context, though, a couple of defenders I've got. Trent, who's always top end, 7.5. Robertson, I think, is 7. Shaw and Digne, who I think good picks at 5.5. And then got Lamptey and Fofana at 4.5. I just think for me, you say maybe they're a bit overpriced. For me, the value in this game is defenders. In particular, as we'll get onto, some of the big boys are really expensive. I think there's some good value. I like Chilwell at 6 mil, perhaps a little bit risky, but as you say, he grew into it. Goals and assists from that wing back position anyway. He contributes, getting in that back post, as we saw Alonso over the years. So I think he's not a bad pick. Aspi at 6 mil, now that's expensive, but do you think of that? Because he might be the one that you think, he's definitely going to play. You've got a risk with Chilwell. Some games Alonso might come in. Do you like Aspi at 6 mil? Because he tries to contribute as well. Would you tempt him?
He'd be what I see. I'm quite sad when I play the game. I sort of write a list of players that I think I want, but I work backwards. I work from strikers down, if you know what I mean.
You're a glory one. You like all
I am, yeah. No, So I'm just a slut for it. So I just write a list. Aspi would be like in my maybes list, and if there's the money at the end, he would go in there. To be fair, but it would depend, because we'll get onto some Chelsea players that for me are absolute musts. What I would say there, you just saying about Trent's price,
7.5.
Was Reece James 5.5? You said.
So Reece James at 5.5. That's
well, he's better than Trent, isn't he? So. That's a massive saving. I'm buzzing for Reece James. He'll be happy with that.
If we get going beyond our tough fixtures, I think we've got a tough start, as we all know. Hopefully we get through that. But moving forward, I think you've got to get 1, maybe 2 Chelsea defenders in there. Rudiger 5.5. He was playing all the time. So good value in the defenders. Should we move on to the midfielders?
Go through it.
Quite a lot here. I'll work from the bottom this time, the value, because there's not much to talk about. Kante, Kovacic at 5 mil. No one's going to pick them, but that's not their game, fantasy football. So that's fine. You avoid them. Got a lot of 5.5. I don't know if these are all going to be at Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek, Barkley, Gallagher on there. Depending on where they move, could be maybe some value, but we see. They might stay. Hudson-Odoi at 5.5 is an interesting one. Then you've got Jorginho at 6 million. Bear in mind he takes our penalties. 7.5 million. You've got Mount and Ziyech, and then you've got Pulisic, who's our second most expensive player at 8 mil. I just want to give you a bit of context. You've got Salah 12.5, Fernandez 12, Grealish at 8 million. So he's on par with Pulisic, and Mount's cheaper. And then I've got a couple of Leeds players for you. Rafinha 6.5, Dallas 5.5. So they're sort of the most picked players. So is anyone, I think I know who you're going to pick, but any midfielders you like the look of?
Mason Mount always goes in, to be honest. He has for the last couple of years for me, to be honest. So he's straight in there. And then, to be fair, probably Pulisic as well. If you could guarantee that he was going to get the play time.
Yeah.
When you just compare him to the likes of Salah, and I know they'll talk about goal and assist output. But, he's still, this is what I love about our squad. We're still so young. So, coming off winning the Champions League and the 6 months worth of form that we had, I really feel like we're going to then, this season could be something special. And I'm not just saying, I'm not just saying that as a fan. I genuinely believe, and I spoke to some people I work with, and they've all sort of said the same with you. When you look at their ages, at some point, these boys are going to sort of click and hit sort of their prime. Definitely. If they can all do it at once, the sky's the limit. So I think Pulisic should be on my maybes, but Mount would definitely be in there for me. And to be fair, Jorginho is probably worth a maybe as well, isn't he? Because at 6 million, when he was our top scorer in the end last season, wasn't he? When it was alone. So he's probably worth looking at as well if you can squeeze him in somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, these boys are going to win it all quite clearly when they develop. And they've already won the Champions League. But Pulisic, 8 mil, yeah, a good shout. And as you know, I am like a massive Pulisic fan. And I seem to remember the back of the previous season, two back, when he had that form before the injury. He was outrageous when he like tore Liverpool a new one. So if he can start, that's the thing. We've got the options, and we saw a bit of rotation. Mount 7.5, yeah, good shout. And maybe
that's offensive. If Fernandes is 12, Mount should be at least 18.
Grealish is 8. If it depends if he ends up at Man City. I definitely think Chelsea. I mean, you're not really a Chelsea fan if you don't try and fit 3 players in, are you? Like you've got to just max out. It's not about you've just got to get the Chelsea players in. So I think Mount, maybe Jorginho, if he's on penalties, but there might be a certain somebody from the German league coming over to take those penalties. But we'll get on to him in a minute. So that's that. Finish with the forwards. Batshuayi 5.5. He's not going to stay. He's going to go somewhere. Tammy Abraham. It's quite worth a mention, I think, for me. 6.5 mil in terms of who he joins, because at that price, he could be a real bargain if he. I don't know who. I know he's been linked with Arsenal and maybe West Ham. He could be a really good option for if he moves. And then you've got Werner, who's actually our most expensive player, 9 million. So there's still some way off. For context here, Harry Kane, I can't believe he's 12.5 mil. I always have Harry Kane in my team. Admittedly, I know he's a Tottenham player, but I do have him in there. But that's a lot of money. Then you've got Watkins, 7.5. I think it's a good shout. Calvert-Lewin and Bamford, both 8 million, which is good as well. And Ivan Toney, the new Brentford striker. Well, he's not, coming up to he's new. 6.5. So really the main ones to discuss is Werner at 9 million. What do you think?
I'll be honest. I mean, in comparison to others, it's sensible, isn't it? But bearing in mind he's our most expensive player. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm glad about it from playing the game because, like you said, I try and get my 3 in. But from a wider squad perspective, with the European champions, I think there's a few players there who'll probably feel a bit, sort of harshly done by, with their figure. So, I mean, it's great news for us. But I don't know, Werner at 9 million for me won't be going in my team. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love him to start the season with a hat trick and go on a nice little run, obviously. But he wouldn't be in my team at 9 million. I think the money can be better spent elsewhere. But just thinking that probably does squeeze in that I'd make Mount, obviously will be there, and probably Jorginho would go in with Christensen as my 3 Chelsea players.
Nice. I'd keep an eye on Werner. For me, I'd probably go 2 defenders and the one. I think we're going to title this maybe 5 picks, 5 Chelsea players. I know you've mentioned a few. So if we're going to pick 5 that players, the fans should look at, who are your 5 picks? Who are your best 5?
I think Christensen has to be number 1 at 5 million with the form he's shown.
Yeah.
Then I'd go Mount at number 2 because, again, I think 7.5 million is cheap for him.
Yeah.
Jorginho number 3, purely because of the fact that he's on penalties, and I think with the pace of our attacking line, we get penalties, don't we? That's one thing we've seen. Yeah. Then from there it gets a little bit more tricky. I'd probably go Aspi at number 4 because 6, he's going to play. We get the
clean sheet,
so that's probably a solid shout. And then I'm going to be honest, although he wouldn't be there for me, Mendy for the same reasons.
Okay.
Because he's going to clock up points, don't you? Obviously, if we do sign Haaland, which fingers crossed we do, he shoots in there, doesn't he? And he's probably going to be in every Chelsea fan's, well, probably every game player's buddy team, isn't he?
That's what I was going to ask you. If Haaland comes in, what do you think they're going to price him? If you consider Kane's at 12.5, what do you think they price him? And you sort of answered it, but would everyone put him in?
I think everyone will put him in. Price-wise, it's hard because sometimes when it's an import's first season in the league, they can be a bit lower. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking anything between 11 and probably 12.5. Anything in that wouldn't shock me.
If he's like 11 mil, I'd putting him in.
It's in everyone's team, isn't it?
If you look at his career so far, albeit it's only a couple of years now, but his game to goal ratio is pretty much 1. So you're guaranteeing points, and you're thinking man of the matches. You're thinking the amount of creativity these boys have got. We've seen it. That was sort of our Achilles heel, just finishing. So if we got someone like him in, he's going in my team. I'll give you my 5, just to a bit of variety. Chilwell is going in mine because he's actually in my team. I've sort of started drafting it. Definitely having Chilwell in. I'll agree with you on the Christensen. Keep an eye on that one. I think that's a good pick at 5. I don't think you'll speak to me if I don't pick Mount. So I'll have Mount in there with you.
Right,
at 7.5. Also, I'm going to do Pulisic, 8 mil, because I've got faith in him. I think could come a long way. Do you know what? I've missed Havertz. I haven't got Havertz's price on here. That's quite bad. I don't know where he is. Maybe I should have a quick look on the game. I don't know what's happened there. What? Where?
It's bad you not picked him up. It's worse I've not mentioned him. I did think Havertz, but I thought he must have been in your midfield pack type thing.
You know what? He's in the midfield. Oh, yeah. Thank God we've remembered. Wow, that's popped into my head. So he gets his own little segment at the end here. And the other one I'm going to give is Werner. I know it's a bit controversial, but he creates the chances. He gets the opportunities. I know
if he has a good season at 9 million, he's been a steal, hasn't he? So
I think so. All right, so we'll finish now. And big apologies, I forgot him. Kai Havertz is 8.5 million, so he's our second most expensive player. But we are going to see he's down as a midfielder, but I mean he's a striker. That's where he's going to play. He's going to play up there. So what do you reckon? 8.5.
I think he goes into my top 5 at that because of him where he plays but him being linked as a midfielder on the game.
Yeah, we'll get extra.
I think he'd go in there. Yeah, he goes in my team actually. Sorry, Jorginho.
Okay, but the only thing is if Haaland's coming in, I know you didn't actually put Werner, so who's going to drop out? Can you play Havertz, Werner, Haaland? Probably not. I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, 8.5 for me. Yeah, it's not bad. Definitely want to keep an eye on because, 100%. As you say, he's playing up front. Cool. I think we'll wrap it up there. Sorry for the Havertz blunder, but I've enjoyed this. It's something a bit different, and maybe if you want to drop your teams down below, let us know. As long as they've got 3 Chelsea players in, obviously. And we've got loads more content. Obviously, we're drawing towards the new season now, so we'll start putting out more videos, more content. This was just something a bit fun today, so I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll wrap it up there. But please like and subscribe if you're new, and follow us on Twitter at Chelsea_debate and on Instagram _Chelsea_debate. Until next time, see you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.